Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Opinions from the Armchair. As you may be able to tell from the various articles upon my mantelpiece, I am a passionate lover of the artistic genre steampunk. But at this moment in time, very few people seem to know what it is. So, if you or someone you know is interested in learning what this newfangled artistic genre is all about, I have prepared this informative little picture show. Can we have the house lights down, please?
Firstly, let me make it clear that steampunk is not an antisocial miscreant with a penchant for steam baths. To properly explain it to you, I must first explain the concept of futurology, sometimes referred to as futurism. Futurology is defined as the study of postulating possible, probable, and preferable futures and the worldviews and myths that underlie them. One form of this is documentaries, books, and magazines that are about the technology that people may have in the future. For my purposes, I am using the futurology of the 1950s. The people of this time thought that by the 2000s we would have flying atomic-powered cars and robot servants. Of course, this appeared in the science fiction of the time. Now, a key point here is that the people who made these future predictions based them on their own age's grasp of science and technology, which is why today it appears old, outdated, and erroneous, even the ones that have actually come true. Now that you know what futurology is, I can explain the concept of retrofuturism. At some point, artists started taking this outdated look at the future and started creating new art based on it. For example, the film Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. It was made in 2004, but looks like it came straight out of the 1930s. And the Fallout video game franchise started in 1997 and set in a world with an alternate history where mankind had developed advanced technology, but not the microchip. Just like the science fiction of today, these things involve robots and other advanced technology, but they have an old-fashioned, clunky feel to them, unlike their sleek counterparts in our modern science fiction. You might say that technology progresses even when it's non-existent. Just to be clear, retrofuturism is not exclusively about the 1950s. It's any era's technology made retroactively more advanced than it was, which is what finally brings me to steampunk. Steampunk is a form of retrofuturism. It follows the same principles I've just outlined, but it starts further back. The history of this non-existent history starts, as you might think, in the 1800s. Authors such as H.G. Wells, Mary Shelley, and Jules Verne are regarded as the godfathers of steampunk. They wrote stories about alien invaders, submarines, and other advanced technology. But of course, back then it wasn't retrofuturism, just regular futurism. Then, as now, people wondered and postulated as to what the future might be, either seriously or just for the purposes of creating fiction. And just like the 50s futurism we've already seen, this was all based on their current age's grasp of science and technology. And artists started creating a world where all this old advanced technology really did exist. But these works were few and far between. It was a genre without a name or an identity. That changed in April 1987, when when a name was finally coined for this movement by author K.W. Jeter. It was actually done as a tongue-in-cheek variant of the term cyberpunk, when Jeter wrote a letter to science magazine Locust in which he said, "Personally, I think Victorian fantasies are going to be the next big thing, as long as we can come up with a fitting collective term for Powers, Baylock and myself. Something based on the appropriate technology of the era, like steampunks, perhaps." Since then, the movement has grown and has now become a clearly defined and fully recognized artistic genre. And artists, both professional and amateur, have been applying this to all forms of medium, from costume to 3D art to film and video games. As of now, it's still a relatively unknown genre. From independent artwork and short films to larger budget productions and conventions. And then, in 2009 at Oxford, the first exhibition of steampunk art. A historic landmark for the genre, for which I was present. Steampunk is growing, but right now it's like that one shop on the high street that's not a chain. It's small, independent, and known only to the people who frequent it, but it's there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now you know what steampunk is. It's arguable that I owe you an apology, because this episode has not been about opinions, more an explanation. But if you want to hear a young man go on and on about his personal views as he tries to pass them off as news, feel free to join me next time for more Opinions from the Armchair.